Hello, folks. This is Karpaya, and today we are going to talk about Python. So, I recently started learning a bit of Python, and I have actually put down my journey over here in my blog. I'll share it in the description. I'll share the link in description. So, I learned Python through this community called She Loves Data. So this is an awesome community. They've been doing some pretty good um, sessions and events and workshops on teaching people data analysis and data. And the initial step to that is learning Python. So I will get started on how you can just get your hands dirty and learn some Python. So the first thing you got to do is go to this thing called collab.research.google.com. So that is the link. I'll put it on description too. And once you go here, you'll notice something like you'll notice the URL change a bit. It will say notebooks intro.ipynb. Um, and it will show you some recent notebooks. I have some, but you won't. If you have already used it, you will. And there are examples and there are some more tabs. So what is collab, right? If you notice, if you close this, right, they will tell you what is collab. It is short. Collab is short for collaboratory, and you can write Python in your browser and execute the Python code. So if you have learned any other language before, I think it should be very easy to get started with Python and write some code in Colab and execute and get started. And if you are new to programming, you can still easily learn Python. Python is a very good language for beginners and even for advanced programmers. It's pretty easy to get started, and there are lots of resources available to learn Python and lot of tools to help you get started easily instead of like spending too much time on installing Python in your computer and struggling and stuff like that. Um, and you can also learn interactively. So Colab is going to help you learn Python in your browser interactively. So since it's your browser, you can learn it from your phone, you can learn from your iPad or your laptop. I would recommend laptops so that you can type more and you can type easily. I don't know how about the mobile responsiveness of Collab and all that. I'm sure it should be good. Yeah. So let's get started, right? I've been talking a lot. Probably let's see some action, right? So you go to Collab and you do this. You say new notebook, and it will create a new notebook for you. So this is like a document, and it's called a notebook. This is based on the software called Jupyter Notebook, and Jupyter helps you to learn and interact and execute Python code and some more languages. And Colab is just the internet version or the cloud version of Jupyter, so you can just run it in the cloud very easily. So this is how it will look like, and this is the file type for Jupyter notebooks. IPYNB. NB is short for notebook, and I is interactive, I believe, and PY is Python here. And NB is notebook, right? And yep. So let's name this, right, like intro to Python. Okay. So if you're new to programming languages, I would recommend using Colab and learning. And even if you are not new to programming languages, you have learned some languages before, I would recommend Colab. So you create a new Colab notebook like this, and you will have to type some code over here. You can also type some text. So if you hover over, you will notice code, text. You can keep adding stuff. So these are called cells. What are I'm adding over here? Each of these is called a cell or a block or something like that. So instead of us creating everything from scratch, because like if you don't know Python, what would you write and what would you learn? So there is already a Colab present to help you learn Python. So She Loves Data has actually run a workshop for introduction to Python. You can find the recording of it over here. I'll put the link in description. And they've also created slides for it. In this video, I'm mostly going to go over only the practical part of it and talk a bit about the theory on the go, instead of just doing completely just slides or completely practical. So let's get started, right? So the first thing to do is I'll put the link of this Colab notebook in the description. You cannot do any changes over here. You will not have access to this. It will say changes will not be saved. So you'll have to create a copy. You go to file and it will tell you how to create a copy. So it will say save a copy in Drive, and it will also tell you how to run the cells, like run code, right? So save a copy in Drive, and it's creating a copy for me. Okay. So I'll get rid of this new Python notebook that I created. Probably you can come back to this. And you can read through more if you want to know more about Colab, but this is going to be a bit of a stretch because this has a lot of like advanced stuff. So I'm just going to close that for now and keep the slides over here. Now let's get started finally. So the first thing in a programming language that you would usually learn is about how to store data in your program, in your software. So every programming language usually has this concept called variables, um, variables, and types, fundamental types, and you can actually create a variable to store some data for you. So a variable is more like a box, you could say. So if you can see this diagram over here, it says name, and then so this box stores information about someone's name. So it's named as, it's called name, and you store the name Maria into it. Tomorrow you can come and store something else inside it, like Alex, um, or Mark, or anything like that, right? So you can name your boxes, you can name your variables, and then you can, after you store the information, you wouldn't store it simply. You would want to, retrieve it back sometime later. For example, let's say in your phone you're trying to keep a reminder for yourself that remind me tomorrow to do something. So you would tell your phone, hey, store this data and then remind me later. So your phone's software should actually first of all store the information, and then the next day or sometime later it should retrieve the information and then remind you. So the retrieval part is also important. So you can store information in your variables and you can retrieve information too. So you can think of variables as like pointing to a value. So let's try to store something, right? Like, so before we store something, there are some things to notice. That is, when you can name your variables, right? So when you name them, you can use alphabets and numbers, but it should start with a alphabet. And if you have a number of words, like say 2-3 words in your name, you separate them using underscores, and you always have smaller case and you don't use like uppercase, capital case. And there are some suggestions for variable names. So you use meaningful names like name, reminder information and stuff like that. Um, Avoid acronyms. Acronyms could be like TBD instead of saying to be decided or to be determined, or URL. I mean, URL is a bit of a okay thing, but still, uniform resource locator is better. Um, but yeah, people usually use URL in case of URL alone. So yeah, if something is not obvious, yeah, don't use the acronym. So the first thing that we're going to do is store some data, right? Um, so when you want to store some data in your Python program, what you do is you actually create a name for your data, for your variable. You say name, and then you put this thing like double quotes over here. If you want to store some text or words, right? If you want to store words or text, you would store it using double quotes, or you could use single quotes too. Okay, and you can store numbers. Uh, let's see how this works, right? Like you can go ahead and execute this code. So you're executing a program, and so actually the first time will be slow because it's going to try to do some stuff over here. If you notice, it's saying connecting, initializing. Once it's done, it's connected and it'll all work good. So there's a computer running behind the scenes. It will tell you the RAM and disk and everything. Um, so you click here and it will actually run. So actually it ran and it finished running. So but I mean you don't see anything, like you don't see any visual confirmation. So the thing that is going on over here is you are just storing the information. You're not retrieving it. So you're saying, hey Python, store inside name the value Maria, and inside eggs the value 15, kind of like saying 15 eggs, and then inside bacon 10. You're just saying store, you're not getting it back. So you can get it back by actually doing one of these. One is you can say print, and you can put this thing called parenthesis, and you can put the name of this data or variable that you want to get. And if you notice, you will actually see Maria being put here, and then you can say eggs. So you said, hey, store the value for name, eggs, and bacon, and then you're getting it back. What if you put some random thing, right? Like blah. You stored these values, but then you say print blah. So Python is going to tell you like the name blah is not defined. Like you didn't tell to store anything called blah to Python, so it's going to just shout at you. So you can actually store even decimals. So let me say 001, and you can see that I defined blah and stored it, and then I retrieve it. Right. Another way to do it is in Colab. You can also simply specify in the last line, like whatever you want to retrieve, put that in the last line, and execute it. And to execute, you can either click here, or you can do command enter, or you can do shift enter, or if you're using Windows, like this is on Mac, if you're using Windows, you can also do control enter. So you get the value of blah here, and if you put eggs, you can get the value of eggs. Yep. And you can also store, like you've already stored some information inside variables. Now if you want to create another variable and store the same information present in a existing variable, let's say you want to store the value of eggs in another variable too, you can just say another eggs, and get the value of that, right? This is the last line, so if you just put that, and execute, it will show 15. You can also say, you know, another bacon, and then say bacon, and say another bacon, and then execute it. You can see 10. So the thing about running these play buttons, the order in which you run matters. Um, let's say let me just put something over here. Say this is another blah. So I don't run it, okay? I just define. I mean, I just write the code here, and I try to print it over here in another cell, right? So there are also some more print statements over here, eggs, bacon, name. So let me run this now. So it says this is another blah is not defined. The reason being, after typing this code, I didn't run this code. So every time you type some code, always run it. Only then Python will understand, that there is something to be done. And in this case, actually, I try to get the value of this is another blah. So let me store some value over here, say 9, and then get the value 2 over here. This is another blah. You can't make spelling mistakes. You'll have to exactly put what you put here. So now, if I run this, you can see that it gets printed. So the order in which you run, and you must run first of all to when you write the code, and then if you run the code in a wrong order, it might go wrong in Colab. So you must know that what you ran before and what you ran after. For this, there is a number given by Colab. If you can notice, there is a number 10 over here, uh, and there is a number 16 in this below uh, block, this block, and in this block there is number 10. If you notice over here, the place symbol goes away and then it says 10. What that means is it was the 10th execution, and this was the 16th execution, and this was the 17th execution. And if you notice, this is 16, right? If I execute this again after this was 17, so now this is 18 actually. So it will show you the order of execution over here. And so you can actually go through this whole Colab, um, and learn some Python. Uh, so yeah, have some fun, and learn Python so that you can create software. Yep. Using and Python is really good to create software, because it's like pretty easy to get started and learn for newbies and for advanced people. So that's all I had on introduction to Python. Thank you.